Welcome to Out in the Barn with Charles Hatcher. This week I want to talk about one of my favorite things, which is the dairy. This didn't happen overnight. There's a lot to the story and a lot to dive into. So we've always milked cows here. We've always been a working dairy farm for nearly 200 years. But we've changed along the way. You know, you're always got to adapt with the times. So it started with my great-great-grandfather nearly 200 years ago establishing the dairy here in the farm. Then my great-granddad, my granddad, my dad, and now me, which is, that's what means everything to us, is the family, the tradition, and the heritage. We've here at Hatcher Family Dairy, we're obviously a family business, and we've got other family members that pitch in as well. And just to kind of go back a little ways, the probably most important member or family member of this whole thing was my great-granddad. So my great-great-granddad established the farm, but my great-granddad took it on at a very, very early age. He was the youngest of 11 kids. His father died when he was a very young man. And my great-granddad was self-made. And what's awesome and fascinating and crazy to me to think about is he not only was self-made, but he fought in World War I, survived a global pandemic in 1918, fought in World War II, and then went through the Depression, which is pretty incredible to say the least. And shout out to my great-grandmother who helped keep things going while he was serving overseas. But we do have some artifacts here as well that we like to keep and hold on to. And one of those is our original milk license from 1926 that we found in our dairy parlor. So that's pretty cool and a piece of history there that we cherish and hold on to dearly. And I like to look at it, and it reminds me of kind of the hard work and the fruits of the labor that my great-granddad poured into this thing. And they don't call him the greatest generation for nothing. And he was he was very work regimented, family oriented, kind of get in, get the job done, no nonsense. And he passed those kind of characteristics and traits down to my granddad, who my granddad kind of, he took on those as well, and then passed that down to my parents, or my dad and his siblings. So the original family farm is still intact. It got divided 5 ways between my dad's siblings. The working dairy here, a lot of people ask, is how big is your farm? The working dairy here is 200 acres. And then we have a sister farm that's 5 miles down the road as well that we utilize for the dairy operations. So, but all of that means a lot, so much to me and the family, and whenever I'm having a bad day or bad week or a bad stretch, I think about the trials and tribulations of my ancestors that have put all their hard work and dedication in this thing. So we always milk the cows here, or I shouldn't say we, my great-granddad. My granddad, we've always farmed and milked cows. And we were at an interesting moment in time in the early 2000s to where we're having difficulty keeping the farm going. In conventional dairy farming, you don't have control over the price of your milk. So my dad and my uncle kind of were having conversations on, I think we're going to have to sell the farm to able to sustain and survive, that's kind of like a world-ending decision for me. And I was entering my freshman year in college at that time, and I always knew I wanted to be a part of the farm. Didn't know what shape, form, or fashion that might look like, but my dad had this vision of why don't we just cut the middlemen out, have total control over the price of our milk, and kind of establish a niche market. So this was pre-local farm-to-table movement, pre-local food movement, and my dad had this, we called it a crazy idea at the time, and so we took a leap of faith, not knowing anything about the market and farm-to-table or direct profit to consumer. So we learned a lot along the way, made a lot of mistakes, and we still make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but thankful that my dad had that crazy idea, and we put that into action. My uncle took the bull by the horns, and we established a creamery here on the farm, the Abe Hatcher Creamery, named after my granddad. We opened that in 2008. And started bottling our milk, took total control over the branding, imaging, and the distribution, and the wholesaling, and the price. So that to this day has carried our operation and established it for another generation, which is awesome, which is what it's about. And we hope to continue to carry that legacy on and continue to keep the farm going. And always getting better. Always out in the country, I always say, you can always get more better. So, and I'm always looking for new ideas and ways to, in the business world, if you ain't changing, then you're dying. So, we don't know what the next 10 years, 15 years might look like, but we're continuing to push forward with, and we're so grateful to have local community help, a great staff, great family, and the community, most of all, that supports us, the local businesses here around the Nashville area. They don't have to pay a little bit extra for local product to make our farm go, but they do, and we're so thankful for that. So I just look back at the last 100 years, per se, of my great-granddad starting that, and then my granddad, and then my dad, and these different visions and different hands that have been involved. And I'm looking forward to laying my imprint on the business and the legacy, and then our son as well. So I'm the 5th generation, so our son Cannon will be 6th generation. So his career path's laid out for him. He just doesn't know it yet. So, but really, it gets me excited to think about the future and what the possibilities are, and but there's the fear of the unknown as well. So there's a lot that's been involved with it, and running a family business is one of the hardest things in the world there is to do. You know, we have arguments and differences in opinion, but at the end of the day, we all know what the goal is, and we're all one team, one dream, one direction. So that's the coaching coming out in me on the football field. So, but we're so fortunate today. We started in 2007. We started with a College Grove grocery here locally, selling at our store on the farm here, and then the Franklin Farmers Market. And here we are, fast forward 14, 15 years later, and we're in over 100 outlets in the mid-state area. And just have a lot of demand for our product, and so fortunate and blessed. I can't emphasize that enough, to get to carry on this farm and this legacy, doing what we love and our passion. So, and then we got to do a television show in the midst of all that as well, to kind of give a background on our day-to-day operations here. So. That's a little bit of background about our dairy and our farm and our history. I could talk hours about it. It always excites me. But I appreciate you all taking 10 minutes out of your busy week to watch and hear about this, and look forward to doing this every week. So thank you so much for the outreach and reaching out to me. Hope that y'all continue to do that, and that I'm not boring you to death. I get excited about doing this every week. So looking forward to talking to you in upcoming weeks, and send me some feedback and some questions as always. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you soon.